You're listening to the Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast, where we discuss whatever the fuck we want to. And yes, we can put sex and drugs and Jesus all in the same bed and still be all right at the end of the day. My name is Devanin, and I'll be interviewing guests from every corner of this world as we dig into topics that are too risque for the morning show, as we strive to help you understand what's really going on in your life. There is nothing off the table, and we've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive right into this episode. Hello, everyone. I am so just giggly with joy to have all of you beautiful batches back with me again on this week. I appreciate each and every last one of you so damn much. Mwah, 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 mwah. Kisses and hugs to all of you beautiful motherfuckers. I am talking to a wonderful woman by the name of Layla London. This woman is the host of the Curious Girl Diaries Podcast, and she also has a badass blog on her website as well, which you all need to check out. Her website is thecuriousgirldiaries.com. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be talking a lot about sex and a lot about sex toys. So this episode is particularly useful in my opinion. So we're going to be talking about ass sex, prostate massagers for men. We're going to be talking about watching porn in church and how a man can make a woman come on command. And I'm sure it could work for any of us too, if the tone is just right. And then we round things out with a message to the men out there who are still holding on to this unfortunate toxic masculinity. Because at the end of the day, we all just want to have a little fun. Please enjoy this episode. Miss Layla London, welcome to the Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast today. How the fuck are you?
Amen. Take me to church today. I am happy to be here. Let's bring it.
So I was so happy. I was tickled to my clit, when you reached out to me on Matchmaker about a possible collaboration. Your podcast is called the Curious Girl Diaries, and you have just about as filthy of a mouth as I do, and that's not something that I come across all the time. Usually I'm the most perverted person in the room, and so it was a breath of fresh air to take a look at your body of work. I also like that, at least according to your blogs, which we're going to get into in a little bit, that there's a little bit of at least some sort of church religious history there too. And so it's a very unique commonality to find people who are able to speak freely about religion and about dicks and pussies and assholes, even dirty assholes, if it comes down to it. And, just sip chamomile tea as if we've done nothing odd. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, curiousgirldiaries.com is your website. Let me be sure I've got that right. Yeah, thecuriousgirldiaries.com is your website. Very well organized website. Easy to find everything on there. I respect that about you, because not every website is made equal.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited. And I mean, with a name that like you have, Sex, Drugs, and Jesus, I mean, come on. Like I was drawn to that immediately. I'm like, who is this guy? I love that name. And secretly, I'm a little bit jealous. And I think if I had a time machine, I'd go back in time. I just might have to steal that before you got it, because I think I started before you. So I don't know. There's my little bit of snark there. I would have been like, oh, I'm taking that.
Yeah, you definitely started before me. You got damn near 300 episodes. I'm pushing 50.
All right.
So I guess if we were to pull a Freaky Friday and swap, then I would have the Curious Boy Diaries. That could
That's right.
have.
That's right. I mean, or you could moonlight as me.
I got plenty of wigs, bitch. I will throw.
There you go. I know. And I've got long, you can't tell, but I do have long hair. So, you can, there's a lot of room here. Yeah. I love wigs, by the way, too.
Nothing like having options.
That's right.
So tell us. I know of you that you took 3.5 years off from sex of any kind, I want you to tell us about that and anything about your history that you feel like we should know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's go back to the beginning. I feel like a lot of people where you get sort of sidetracked, you're focused on a lot of things, and slowly but surely you build this habit of not prioritizing your sex life. And it just the more you do it, it gets easier and easier and easier. Just like any habit that may seem awkward or hard in the beginning, the more you do it, it gets easier and easier. And so I over time, got really, really focused on work. I'm kind of a type A. Have always been an entrepreneur. And when I'm into something, I just get hyper focused. And so to the detriment of other things. And I just really kind of talked myself into this point of believing that I guess I just wasn't that sexual and sex wasn't that important and that I didn't need it that much, but work was kind of my lover and business goals, and achieving things took over and that seemed more exciting at the time. And then one day, you know, you find yourself 3.5 years later without any physical contact. And I just said, I literally just had this epiphany moment where I was just looking in the mirror and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You are wasting the pretty. Like, stop what you're doing right now, make an about face, raise this Titanic, fix this. And so it took me I just kind of like, well, how do I do that? I felt so out of the game, but I just really quickly kind of attacked it like I would any sort of business problem, made a plan, executed that plan. And then 10 days later, poof, I'm having sex with someone. So I broke my dry spell. But then I decided it would be fun to make something really fun out of it. And the intention was that for a year, I was going to come up with my sex bucket list and I was going to knock those things off my list and then do that for a year and document it the whole way. So my intention documenting it was I would start, blogging about it and then podcasting just, about the sex. But as I went along, I realized how hard blogging is, and I don't think I'm really any good at it. So I left that behind in year 1 and just, I do have the gift of gab, so I just kept on podcasting, which came a lot easier to me.
How long have you been not celibate? When did you hop back on the dick?
That was back in 2016, late 2016.
They're going on like 7-ish years now.
Yeah.
And it just
6. Yeah. I think this is year 6 because it was around, I want to say September of 2016 when I broke the dry spell. And then, and I started doing the blogging and then the podcasting started in December of 2016 because I just was writing these things was very these encounters with these guys was very painful for me. It took me a long time. I would sit down and like, God, I could just talk this out so much easier than I can write it.
yeah, and we're going to talk about some of those blogs. I love me a good blog.
Yeah.
And so, but before we get on that, I want to know, so you have so many podcast episodes and the blogs, even though you stopped, I noticed you have comments. Like a lot of people were interacting with you on there. I thought your blogs were well written. But I also understand, when we discover our passions, we may leave one and, transfer to the next. So I don't judge you for stopping at
Yeah.
all. I'm thankful that they're still there, that you didn't delete them or anything like that, because they're quite juicy. So people are interacting with you. So have you had anybody tell you like some sort of positive change that has come about in their life from either hearing your podcast or reading one of your blogs?
A lot. A lot. And in fact, you know what? I just got one the other day. I'm glad you asked me that. It's funny that you did. I just got this yesterday. Let me let me find it really quickly. I would love to read this
Oh
with
yeah.
you.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. So people are they like emailing you? Oh, I see. Oh yeah, on your website you have like a voice message thing. So is this like a voice message someone left you?
I get tons of voicemails. with lots of, a lot of positive reinforcement that way. And people just like to ask me questions and chat with me. And I get back to everybody. Like you can leave me up to a 5-minute message and I'll sit there and I'll listen to it. And then I go, I go through it and respond. So it's nice is that it really allows me to connect with my audience, to understand what their takeaways are, what their struggles are, try to just give them advice. And I really feel connected to them. Like we're in this together, like we're friends. And that's been the thing that's kept me doing this long, because quite frankly, I'm good with it. I know where my priorities are, that I'm not going to let my sex life fall back the way that it is important to me. But I'm just trying to keep the message that, because I know so many people, I don't know like you get stuck in these ruts and then sometimes you'll just let it go. And, I've got listeners that have sexless marriages or sexless relationships, or it's once a month or twice a year, just stuff like that. And I mean, this stuff just drives me crazy. So it's really become kind of a passion for me to keep doing what I'm doing and encourage other people to, toe dip. Like you don't have to say I'm committing to this for the rest of my life, but give it a shot, 30, 90 days of, okay, making, trying to spice up your sex life or prioritizing it. But the message I got the other day, and I literally could almost have, I did, I teared up a little bit. I'm like, this is why I keep doing this shit. Like, seriously, this is what's kept me in this. Cause in the beginning, every year I was like, this is my last year doing it. This is my last year doing it. And now here I am years later. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to ride the wheels off this thing. But I got a message the other day and it was an email. And this gentleman said, I started listening to your podcast on a road trip last week. Listening to the January 8th interview with Eric flipped a switch in my brain about my whole marriage of 20 years, and it hadn't been as passionate as I wanted it. When I returned to my wife last Saturday, I absolutely devoured her and have been keeping things steamy between us for the last 4 days with dirty text, increased dirty talk, not just in the bedroom, much more aggressive physical affection. I've been telling her feelings and fantasies I've held back for years of being too much, and she has welcomed it. It's like I'm finally able to express my love and desire for her without holding back, because I know that it's my job to lead. I'd encouraged the idea of that before, but never really trusted myself to push out our boundaries. I feel more in love with my wife, like I've fallen back in love, but even deeper this time, and feel like and he puts in parentheses, we're finally having the sex life we've always wanted. Dirty, loving, nasty, tender, passionate, deeply intimate, all at once, all at one amazing hot time. Thank you. You get something like that and you're just like, holy shit. That's exactly why I'm doing this.
Hells yeah. You go bitching for a guy to write a very intimately detailed letter like that. I mean, that's not something you hear every day.
I know. I'm like, he sent this to me and like, I'm not kidding you. Like I shed a few tears. I just, just like, it was just so flattering. And I'm so like, I feel proud of him. I'm like, yes, yes, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I want for people. I want them to be able to have that. So
Your listenership is now 50-50 men and women, according to a podcast that I was listening to. But when it started out, it seemed like it was more men than women.
you know what? I don't know. It shifts. It does shift that, I get updates every month and that's only, I guess I should preface that, because that's only actual engagement on the website. I don't really know download wise. And I know that most podcasters don't have access to that information, but and I can tell by who's signing up for my mailing list. I can tell by who's messaging me roughly, but I would say I was excited. I think I shouted that out because I was like, yes, women, you're catching up. But I think it's more like 60-40, pretty steady, honestly, more men, because as dirty and raunchy as I talk, it just naturally attracts men.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do like us some good filth.
I know. And I'm filthy. I'm as filthy as they come. I mean, you can take me I go to church and you can take me home to your mom, but let me just tell you, I have a mouth on me. I know when to use it and when not to, though. I'll say that.
I noticed, you're right, because I noticed when I was reading through your blog, and one of the main reasons I love blogs is because it's like a written document, like a testament to somebody's mind.
Yeah,
Like, that's why I love blogs, and when you spell "come," you spell it like guys do, like C-U-M.
I
Most
do.
most women spell it C-O-M. A lot of my friends are romance authors and stuff like that, and they always spell "come" C-O-M-E, and I was like, "Is C-U-M too dirty for women?" Or something like that, so you're like the first woman I've ever met who spells it the way guys do.
Well, that's how you differentiate, right? I mean, we have words in the English language that sound the same, but they're spelled differently. So, phonetically you say them the same, but there's different spelling because it's actually a different thing. So I kind of look at it the same way.
I concur. That'll get you a long way with guys. Like, I don't get the COME thing for some women, but whatever.
I know. That to me takes a good word and bastardizes it. You have no right to do that. Who are these people?
There'll be no Diet Coke on this stage, bitch. We want the real thing.
Hello, come on. Who are we kidding?
Now, on your website, you have blessed us with some a delicious section called guys. You have like these hot ass men on there. I'm guessing they're stock photos and not like the real dudes.
They are, yeah, because I wanted to protect everybody's privacy, but what I did is I found a stock photo that looked like I really like some of these, I'm like, that's how they look. I mean, I really did a good job at finding photos that look like these guys, and I gotta fan myself when I think about it.
She's turning red right now. And so we've got a lot of hot looking guys,
Yep.
some interesting made up fake names, but the the stories, some of them are real, some of them are fantasy as I understand it, right? Um,
Well, let me I wanna clarify that. There's only on the blog, there's only 2 fantasies.
okay.
Um, and I preface those as these are fantasies.
Right.
I just wanted to throw them in there. The majority of what I wrote on the blog is those are actual encounters. And everything that I podcast about, those are actual encounters. Until this past episode on it was it's actually coming out today. I decided to do I just decided, I mean, after doing so many episodes, you got to get creative. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be fun if I just did like a fantasy episode where I took some elements and then I had to create a story around that? So, the story is I just drew from like different experiences with the guys and, I had different elements. Like it was like a remote cabin and he was edging, he did some, these are the things that were going on, edging. And I was kind of like a prisoner and he was what else? Oh, fucking me in the mirror. And so I had to create the story around these different elements and how I got in this situation. And so I just sat and free flowed it and recorded it and published it. And that's coming out probably in a couple hours. So that
Right.
was kind of fun. But so just I want to clarify the stuff that's on there, it's 95% is all the premise of the show is it's about my sex life. And so I am always talking about guys I'm having sex with and what we do and things like that. So if it's ever a fantasy, I always make sure that I make everybody aware like, hey, this is just this isn't real. This is just a fantasy.
Well, grab your dildos, ladies and gentlemen, and get ready. Layla's new episode is going to be released today, and we will be talking about dildos and vibrators and even a sex toy for men later on in the show.
I love that. Yeah.
And yeah, I had to look that one up myself.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Oh, really? Oh, good. I love it.
so I noticed that there is a type, and this I wanted to talk about the guys before we get into the blogs because these guys appear in the blog. And so tell us about your type. He seems to be very tall. I noticed all the guys seem to be over 6 feet, that type of thing, in
Yeah.
very good shape and such. Is that about kind of like your type? Because if I believe you're
Yeah.
5'10".
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I get that. A lot of tall girls I know like tall men. That makes sense.
Yes. Because you know what it is that I'm tall and, even though I'm thinner, it's just, you have this thing where you feel like I always have, I don't know, it's just some weird thing. Like, I feel like big, because everybody's short and, all these women wise, like all my friends, I'm the tallest one, that kind of thing. And so when, for me to really feel in my feminine, I feel the most feminine when I'm with a man that makes me feel small, like, oh, he just picked me up and tossed me around like it's nothing, and I'm like, that is part of it. That's part of getting in my head, where I'm like, I feel small and safe and protected. And and a man that's going to manhandle me and he's big and strong. Ugh, that just gets me so wet. So I'm into that. I'm into the taller guys, that feeling that I get from it.
So how do you how do you meet these guys? Are you like on dating apps? Are you meeting them through friends? Like what's
Well, I'm a pretty good flirt, but mostly dating apps. But yeah, I mean, 90% 's dating apps. The rest, like literally, if there's a tall guy in the room, I can, I'm going to single him out and make sure that I at least engage in some conversation, or even, some guy pumping gas across from me, I have to say something. And, to see if if I'm interested, to see if I can sort of spark something. Assuming he's single, then I want to make sure I don't miss an opportunity. But I would say dating apps are really just the easiest way to, you know, shoot fish in a barrel.
okay. Let's dive into the blog. The first one that caught my eye was called Sinners and Saints.
Yeah.
You you tell a story in here, you're sitting in church and then somebody who you're seeing on whatever level sends you a picture of his ripped body, as I recall it, and of him
Yeah.
masturbating. It
Yes.
so that part is real, but then you launch into a fantasy that you're having.
Yeah.
And so when you when I read this, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, now she was in church on All Saints Day, which is a big thing in the
Yeah.
Catholic world where they celebrate everybody who I guess
Yeah.
the person, whoever the fuck decides is supposed to be a saint, and then they get together and celebrate them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like probably like one of the biggest days of the Catholic year, and this bitch is in there watching masturbation porn
I
on
know.
her phone, and I loved it.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, because I'm sitting there and this text comes in and I look and it's from Clark. And he is this guy. Let me just tell you, whoa, literally, again, that picture looks like him. And he's so amazingly good looking. He's an 11. I'm not joking. Like he's a model-esque, like just chiseled, beautiful specimen of a man and a great guy too. We're still really good friends. And I get this thing from him and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm, I'm trying to pay attention, but I'm distracted. And then my mind just starts wandering. I've had a lot of interesting church episodes. If you, if you continue to listen and they're sprinkled throughout the podcast, on my butt plug almost coming out when I'm going up to get communion. I mean, like, something about church. And now that I've done this stuff, I start to associate it with turn on. It becomes a turn on for me. So when I get there, I really have to try to start, get my brain where it's supposed to be and focus on what's supposed to be going on. But on this day, I got so distracted and I started to just have this fantasy zone out, have this fantasy about Clark and I, fucking up there on the altar. And oh man, and I'm looking at all the paintings and everything, like where we'd be. And, all of these saints would be watching us, as he's just totally taking me and I'm succumbing to this sinful act. And oh, it was just hot. I just let my mind just go.
Well, there's a lot of temptation in church. Like when I don't really go to churches anymore, but when I was going to mega churches, particularly when I was at Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, before I got kicked out for not being straight, the youth pastors there were they had two of them. They were both one got fired, then they brought back another one. But they both look like Abercrombie and Fitch models. Like
Uh-huh.
both they had like zero body fat, skinny jeans, soft
Yeah.
ball bill. And that was the first time in my life I'm like sitting in church with a hard on, and wanting to fuck the preacher, you know, want to give me some pastoral penis. That's the pastoral care I wanted. It's a it's a
Yeah.
it's made me think about my days for being turned on in the church and using the church pamphlet to
Put yourself down. I know. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
so then let me see. I want to talk about the blog called Nice Bag of Tricks next.
Okay.
I'm gonna read a little splotch from because I do like to read on my podcast. Like Mama RuPaul always tells us, reading is fundamental.
It is.
So sometimes we just need to get back to the basics. Now we get back to the hotel, and he's brought with him a good sized bag full of play toys. I can't wait to see what he's going to pull out. Very quickly, clothes are coming off, and I'm getting picked up and mounted right on top of his very, very thick cock. I have to
Uh-huh.
say for sure, this is the thickest cock I've ever had inside me. Unbelievable the way it fills me up. Oh my God. And it feels so good. When a man picks you up and bounces you up and down on his cock, holy shit, it feels amazing. I'm getting so wet and turned on. And I'm dripping all the way down his balls. This man is cut like a Roman god, and his strength makes my girl brain go crazy and my pussy react.
Yes.
I want to know. Now, this is like the black guy on your website.
D. D.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know how big this dick was.
Oh my God. Check. Okay. I wish I had, see, I'm in my office. I wish I had my dildo. I have this like oversized, I call it oversized dildo. Like it's like I only bust it out for special occasions. And this dildo reminds me of D. And so like no joke. I mean, I would say like, it's like that girthy, like soda can girthy and, probably like, I'm gonna say like 7 or 8 inches long, and then the soda can girth. And I remember when I was with him, I'm like, I just cannot. Like, I'm worried about fucking him all the time because I'm like, I'm gonna get stretched out. This is something. This is a special treat. You just don't want to be. I don't know. Like after, if I was with him for like years and years, like where would I go from there? I would. I guess I'd have to step down. I mean, because you just don't run across that very often. But I would say, yeah, to date, he's still the biggest cock I've ever had inside me, like real life one.
So he's the thickest around. What about the longest?
Longest, probably Cowboy N. It's the longest. Yeah, yeah, and Cowboy N's pretty thick too. He's not as thick as D, but he's thick, so he's long and thick.
I
And
mean,
D, I mean, women aren't that deep, so this is, but we're like 4 or 5 inches deep, I think, standard, so these are all big cocks, like they're bottoming out.
how long with the cowboy? We're talking 14 inches, 12, 10.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm trying to think. Oh, I would say probably like, if I get it wrong, he'd probably kill me. 8 or 9, like 9, probably 9. It's long. Yeah. And thick. That was the Goldie Cox phenomenon, like just right. I mean, it's almost a little too long, I have to say, because sometimes we got into some really nasty stuff, but like sometimes, it would hurt a little bit when it was that deep, but I got into it, like there's that pleasure pain factor, you get into. So we did a lot of BDSM and stuff like that. So I was I was ready, mentally prepared for all that.
What about the smallest dick?
Oh, let me see, who had the smallest dick? Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know that I've had any none of the guys really on that. Oh, wait a minute. YW. YW. Hmm. But he knew what to do with it. It was not, and it wasn't, I mean, it was just, he wasn't small. It just was the smallest of the guys. And he, he just, he knew what to do with it. So it didn't matter. And it was, and that his dick got really hard. I mean, blood flow is important. Like I will take a super hard one over a long, if you can't get erect or fully erect, like, I mean, angry erect. That's what makes the difference.
Preach. The smallest I've had has been about something smaller than my pinky. It's the only time I've ever seen a man actually use a tuxedo condom, and his confidence was as though he was the king of the jungle. And then I've been in the room where they've been really big and they wouldn't get hard no matter what I did. So I agree with you. I just give me something that works.
That's right. I mean, it's really not, I mean, yeah, so again, I've never, like what you just showed me there, that was that, I've never come across that. But well, hold on, I should take that back. I did
That's a
have this one.
micro
That's a micro penis. Yeah. I did have this one guy who was really, really skinny. It was like a scepter. It was long, but super thin. And he had good blood flow, so it was okay. But it was really, it was kind of like he was gorgeous too. Like he was actually a model. When it traveled all around the world, modeled, just a beautiful, beautiful man. And but he was really insecure, and he had I called it a scepter. It was like this sceptery, like Ichabod Crane skinny type of penis.
Oh, Ichabod.
Yeah, but it worked, and I mean, hey, I'll get myself off. Trust me. Like I'm not gonna waste it. Like if I'm naked, exposed, like it's gonna go down. I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay. Well, speaking of the BDS, I was reading in the blog called Fit to Be Tied, and you're talking about how you love being tied up. Why? What is it about ropes that does it for you?
There's a lot that goes into that. For this, for all of this BDSM stuff, a big part of it was the person I was with. So this guy ended up being my dominant, and we were together for 3.5 years. And and I was his submissive. And so there was just this amazing bond there, and the intimacy was crazy. But the tying is, I like it because I love when the attention's on me. And when you're in the BDSM, I mean, the submissive, in my opinion, everyone, you don't pay attention to all that stupid shit you see on, on Tumblr or Twitter, all these like gifs and memes. It's it, it's it's an even power exchange. It's about both, but there's so much emphasis on the submissive, and teasing her and pleasing her. And it takes a lot of time to intricately tie up a woman or a man. And so while that's happening, he's touching you, he's thinking about exactly the placement of the ropes, and he's creating this scene, and you don't know what's going to happen, but he's done a lot of work and prep. And it's kind of all the things that, people in vanilla relationships are looking for. Like, I wish he put some thought into it. Or I wish they could be spontaneous, or that, all that stuff. Like, this is what's happening. And so, when someone sits there and ties you up in these with the ropes, it's very intimate. It takes a while. You're touching each other. He's giving you all this attention, and, and then it's just the way he wants it. And then the fun, and then even, then the sex starts, and he's just fucking you like crazy, exactly the way he wants. And then you get to feel like, you're being taken and possessed and owned and claimed. And oh, yeah, it's just a lot of good stuff going on at once. So I love it. And I like that I'm his dirty little slut, and I have to do exactly what he says, and I'm being restrained and told, and it's hot.
All the things. I'm gonna read a little bit from the one called Fit to Be Tied. Being fucked in the ass always hurts a bit in the beginning, But then I relax into it and it starts to feel good. Then he puts his finger into my sopping wet pussy. The feeling of having both my holes filled at the same time while I'm stimulating my clit is so fucking hot. My brain literally shuts off and all that pleasure is just rushing in, overwhelming, turning me into a shaking, sweating, multiple orgasmic mess.
Yep. That's exactly what happens. Yeah. Yeah.
And so in there, I read about how he would edge you and tempt you. You'd want him to get you to squirt or come, but he wouldn't. And then he would let you, and then you thought you were done, and he would tell you to come again like he commanded you to, and you did. How walk me through how a guy can have that much control over you, you want him to, and he can just tell you to come. It's like magic and you do.
Okay, that's some fucking Jedi mind trick voodoo magic shit. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. But so let me try to break this down in the best way that I understand it. Again, what I love about BDSM and that dominant submissive dynamic is that it takes so much communication and so much trust. And these are the things that I find are genuinely, for the most part, lacking in uh physical intimacies. Even though it's your husband or your long-term boyfriend, like people don't communicate very well. And and they're just doing the same thing they've always done. BDSM demands that you have to have really, really good communication. Otherwise, somebody could get hurt. I mean, there's just, and if you have a good, strong dominant to lead you through this, it makes it easy because he's gonna help you get there. But once you, as a submissive, once you finally do get there and you didn't, realize how many barriers you had up. And once you let those barriers down and you really trust this person, they're so in tune with your body and you're so in tune with their body that they know exactly where you're at and they know how to excite you, whether it's by stimulation, through voice. And once you guys are synced up, it's just like magic. I mean, now he is a extremely good lover. Like you can't have you can't have some guy that doesn't, or your partner who's not paying attention to your body and your cues and hasn't taken the time to learn you, and conversely you them. But once you get to that point, I mean, just you just want to please your dominant so much that, when he hit him growling in your ear and telling you to, come for me, like it just pops your head off. You're like, yes, you're just hyper turned on at that point that you can literally do it, or it won't take you that long, to just get back over that hump again, you know, considering you've had enough time between your last orgasm or whatever. But yeah, oh, it's amazing. It's I fucking miss that shit. It's good. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
I
like
still I get the tingles every time I think about it. It's like, oh man, that was yeah, it's good stuff.
I'd like to say getting fucked in the yeah, it sounds like very good stuff, and I can see the joy and the gumdrop smile,
Yeah.
just reverberating off of your beautiful face. I would say getting fucked in the ass, I agree, it does hurt at first, but then once you relax, you get into it, and I love it when people who do not necessarily operate in the LGBTQIA world speak openly about anal sex because
Yeah.
some very foolish conservative people, usually Republicans and things like that, tend to, demonize my people as these filthy sexual perverts. Well, not all gay people have anal sex, and
Ah,
then plenty of straight people enjoy anal sex. So to me, it's just another hole. Doesn't have
right.
a big deal, and it's a totally erogenous zone, and then the ass should not be something that is skipped out upon. It's not something that should be frowned upon, and you're really doing yourself a disservice if you're just letting your asshole go to waste, pun intended.
Yeah, don't waste the pretty back there either. No, I'm with you on that. And I don't know what episode it was. I spoke about this recently. You're jogging my memory, where I just said, "Oh, I think it was my sex toy episode," where I was going through different sex toys and I was really, it's like I encourage men to s- whether you're, it doesn't matter what your orientation is. Men, if you're a penis owner, you have a prostate, assuming everything's healthy back there. You have a prostate. It's like your G spot. And to not explore that, you're just, you're like women. I mean, we have all these different ways we can orgasm. So do men, and it's not just on the tip of your penis, not just from your penis directly, there's other things. I mean, I don't know if you probably didn't catch this one, one of the guys that I wrote about I'm sorry, not D. No, D, not D. I did get his prostate. He was like, "Whoa, what did you just do?" But BE, I fisted him and it was amazing to watch. It was amazing to see how much pleasure he got out of that and that I was controlling that and giving him that, and to see the strength and power of that orgasm was like, holy shit. That's when I knew men's men's prostates are powerful. So if you're ignoring this stuff, like you're really doing yourself a disservice. And women too. A lot of women can have G-spot orgasms, or through you can feel it on your G spot, or you can actually, because the way the clitoris runs, I mean, you can kind of hit the front and back of whether you're inside the vagina or in the anus, and you're just missing out on a whole lot of pleasure. I don't see the point in denying yourself any pleasure. I do not.
Well, like Madonna said, if it feels good, then I say do it. I don't know what you're waiting for.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So then we'll segue right on over into the sex toy section with that. I heard you talking about the fisting of the prostate in the sex toy episode
Yeah.
of your podcast, and you were talking about how men can have a hands-free orgasm this way.
Yes.
So, and I think that that's what you were describing. So, in on that podcast, you were saying lelo.com, lelo.com. I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna go back to your website and see if you have affiliate links for these people. I'm gonna put that in my show notes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like,
okay. And then so I'll be sure to put that in the show notes. So lelo.com is where Layla gets recommends the men's prostate massagers from. It's called Hugo or Hugel if you want to be, you know,
fancy.
Latin Americanly
Yeah.
correct.
That's right.
And but let's get more into this though, because on there was listening, you say something about it being remote control.
Yes.
You were saying guys can use this while they're fucking their girl. Tell us more about this Hugo.
That's right. Yeah. So it stimulates your prostate state. It vibrates. Lilo makes great products, by the way. They're just really, really good, solid brand. And this one has a remote control, and so, I mean, my mind just got going, like all the ways I could, depending on my mood, like if I was feeling, if I was just feeling very bossy and I wanted to be in control, I could edge him with it. I could tie him down and just use this mercilessly on him any way I feel like it, until I just and edge him with it. Or just during, when you're having sex regularly, you can use it together. And while he's fucking you, I mean, he's also getting his prostate stimulated and you get to control it. Or just set it and forget it. I don't know, put it on the speed you like and go for it. But I love multiple, like we've already discussed here, you've read. I mean, I like to have this whole filled, that whole filled vibrator. I mean, that give me the triple wow wow. Put something in my ass, put something in my vagina, put something on my clit. Let's go for it. Like those are really powerful orgasms. And again, I don't see the point in not fully just getting all the pleasure that you can when you're with your partner and fully enjoying that experience. So, yeah, I would definitely check out, men, check out the Hugo.
I concur. And let me see. Okay, so it's not like a gay thing if a straight guy wants some ass play. and I know that you agree because you were talking about this on your show. You were saying like, look, it's not homosexual. You were the girl after all. For I'll just ad lib, and for fuck's sake,
Yeah.
you're a woman. There are no other men in the room, and so I would like to encourage men to get over the staunch and stringent and I'm just gonna say closed-minded, but I mean that affectionately because like Layla was saying, you're denying yourself pleasure. If you're in that room, little ass play happens or whatever, no one has to know. And the girl, she's not gonna go blabbing all over town. Women just don't people just kind of don't do that. I mean, people can have the worst breakups and they usually don't go, oh yeah, let me tell you how I fucked them in the ass one time. This is gonna make her look like a bitch. She's
Right.
not gonna do that.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. I know. Ugh,
Fuck
I don't,
men.
I don't, men. Okay. Men. I don't know how to,
Okay.
let me reason, let me reason with you in let me get my male, let me do my best male speech. Okay. Let's be practical. Practically speaking, you have a prostate. It's in there. Every male penis owner has them. So therefore, if you want to, if you want to underutilize it, go right ahead, but I don't recommend it. If it was a gay, listen, if it was, you know, if strictly for gay men, then only gay men would have them. That's just not the case, like it's not the case. So it's for male pleasure, period. So
That's a period with a T at the end of it, as we would say.
yeah,
Period.
that's right. Exactly. So yeah, go for it, guys. Just and stick your own finger in there and figure it out. I mean, play around. Get some lube. It's not self-lubricating. Get a little lube. Just, go up to like your first knuckle. See how that feels. Because it's not that far back in there. It's your prostate's not that far back in there. So it's not like you got to really dig.
It'll be all right. So tell us about the one called the Enigma.
The Enigma. Let me see. Well, which one? Refresh my recollection. Do you remember?
Oh, that one is from
Lilo, right?
com
Mm.
as well. And
Was it like a, was it a
that was the one I think that was the one I believe that was
double stimulator, right?
I think just the one that you said either is like super no, I think that's the one that you said that is the replacement for the rabbit ears, maybe.
Or was that on, was that Lilo or was that Love Crave? Now I got to look.
Yeah, so y'all, she has two websites that she recommends: Love Crave, LOVECRAV.com. Other one. And we'll get back to the Enigma in a second though. So let's switch over to the Vesper because this one
The Vesper. Oh, I had it on and I'm not wearing it right now. Darn it. Okay.
tell us about the Vesper. This is very unique.
Oh my gosh. First of all, when you go to that website, I actually am having a call in later on today with T, who is one of the founders of that company. I'm in love with her passion. It's a woman creating sex toys, great, amazing sex toys, beautiful sex toys. Like they double, a lot of them double as jewelry, but even the ones that don't, are just very elegant. I mean, they appeal to the female eye. You want something that's beautiful and, some of the, let's face it, I mean, some of the sex toys that, were coming out of China or whatever, they're not beautiful. I mean, they get you off, but if you can, when you're appealing to women, if it can be beautiful and give you multi orgasms, I mean, like that's where we're going to go. So her stuff is really great, really amazing. And she's got one product. I think that's the Enigma, right? Where it's like the replacement for the rabbit ears, the Mr. Bunny that probably all of us have had or experienced, those vibrating ears that got our clits for the very first time. And we're like, whoa, what is this? This is amazing. It's kind of the updated modern version of it. And it's sleek and elegant and beautiful. And again, you can engrave it, you can put fun little engravings on it, just like a lot of a lot of the stuff at Love Crave, you can engrave it. So it's just fun. It's she's marketing very well to women, but the products are amazing and they feel amazing. The strength and the power, they don't run down and just give you dull little bloop, bloop, bloop. No, this is some strong vibration. And the Vesper, same thing. It's a beautiful necklace, looks like a necklace, and you wear it. And then, when you're ready for some action, you just like detach it and it's ready to go. So it's kind of fun that you're out wearing it. It doubles as a necklace, looks like a necklace, looks like a beautiful piece of jewelry. And then when you're ready to, even if you're out in public, you want to slip that thing off and under the table with your partner or however you want to use it, however creative you want to be, you're just ready to go. Plus, when you walk out wearing that and other Vesper wearers see you, it's bold. It's like, oh yeah, she's good to go. Like it's cool. I like it. It's definitely saying something.
I'm just so like, oh my God, like all of these different like sex toys and everything are just like absolutely fascinating, because they add spice to the bedroom. We also need guys to get over being insecure about sex toys so they're not trying to replace you with them. It's just another option, you know. And so I wanted to so on Lilo's website, I pulled up the Enigma and the way
Yeah.
they have this branded is absolutely fascinating to me. The model looks like a trans person or somebody who like I can't really tell what the sex is, and
Uh-huh.
they're doing a fun wordplay. In the middle of the screen, it says unknown pleasure at the top. So it's kind of like unknown sex, unknown pleasure. In the middle of
Yeah.
the screen, it says transcendental bliss. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, because you could use that you could use this on a man or a woman.
right. And so, but I love it because I love how open minded and how on brand this is. This here is like a big shout out to the 2S LGBTQIA community.
Yeah.
It is very inclusive the way they have this branded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So you could be, I mean, you can use this. It could be for your clit and your G spot, or you can be stimulating your perineum or your balls with it, and then your prostate. Like this is multi-purpose. And who does, I mean, the more stimulation, the better. I mean, when you can get like a 2 for 1, oof. Because, let me speak frankly here, because
as you should.
as I should, right? I mean, if you are, if I'm trying to get, and I've literally, before they started getting super creative with sex toys, it'd be like, okay, I'd have something, if I'm masturbating, I've got something in my ass. I've got, you know, a dildo in my pussy, and then I'm maybe using a third device or a dildo with a vibrator on top to hit my clit. I mean, I'm trying to get like the triple wow wow effect. But I mean, so I'm trying to sit on something and stuff it in my ass, and then then I got to work my knees and my legs. No, this allows you to lay on your back if you want. If you don't want to be that physical with yourself, and you don't want to have that active of a session, I mean, why not have stuff that's multi-purpose? Then you got 3 toys to clean out, when you're done with that. And now you just got this one here, and maybe you throw another one in there. But I'm telling you, if you can hit your G spot and your clit at the same time, that's pretty darn good. You'll be pretty happy. I'm waiting for somebody to actually make, and I hope toy manufacturers are hearing me. I want a triple wow wow something. Something that's got 3 stimulators on it. Goes in your ass, goes goes in your pussy, and hits your clit. That's my request to the sex toy gods. And
It shall
if
be.
anybody knows of it, if anybody knows if it exists, please, 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 please email me. I'll be your best friend.
She'll send you a video with a live demonstration.
I'm telling you. Yeah. You might not get to see my face, but I might be bold enough to send out some sort of special thank you.
Okay, so I know we went kind of back and forth there with those two sex toy website. So again, they're lovecrave.com, LOVECRAV.com, and then Lelo.com, LELO.com. I'm going to
Yeah.
put Layla's affiliate links into the show notes. And of course, her website will be there, which also can link you over to her affiliate links as well. That way, you decide to get anything, Homegirl can get credit for it since you did hear it from her first.
That's right. Yes,
So
absolutely.
I didn't know about these websites until I was researching her. And so all the credit goes to Miss Layla. And so now these sex toys I think can be good, not just for couples or single people, for people who are taking a pause, their own celibacy for whatever reason. Maybe there's no reason to go without anything at all. Maybe if somebody it has some sort of medical condition that's preventing them from having sex and meeting with other people. If somebody is staying in the house because of the coronavirus and they don't want to fuck
Right.
with other people, you can do Zoom calls. Each person can have a sex toy. There's ways to do. The possibilities are really endless.
Really endless. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, just self-love is important too. I mean, I definitely am a big proponent of masturbation. I do it all the time. And I actually even had I did last year. Oh, and we're coming up on March again. I did March Masturbation Madness Month, play on March Madness Month. I'm like, I'm going to make this sexy. I don't care about basketball. I mean, I like basketball, but I was just like, I need to find a way to get something out of this too. So I did the March Masturbation Madness Month where I masturbated every day for 30 days or 31 days. Was it 31 days in March? I forget. And anyway, it's interesting when you start again, like when you start putting effort towards yourself and your body and your sexuality, even just giving that much time and attention to myself. I mean, I'm like, damn, I feel good. You know, didn't have any bad days that month.
Which I know that's right. March Masturbation Madness Month. Hells yes.
Yeah.
'Cause see, it's important for people to know that our partners are not responsible for all of our sexual gratification. Like, we still gotta do some shit on our own. Some of us have incredibly high sex drives, and it's not fair to put that pressure on them. So some people open their relationships up to have sex with other people. Some people don't do that. Some people would prefer toys or masturbation to
Supplement.
yeah, to supplement, complement. To supplement is a better word. The sexiness of it all. And it's masturbation, just like toys are not anything against your partner. It's just another option. That's all. It's a different type of experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and so I want to, this is all like the good stuff. I want to talk about some of the not so fortunate experiences you may have had because I don't want to paint too rosy of a picture. I want the people let people know there may have been a hiccup or two. Now, there's an episode that you have called Lady Boner Killer where you talk about this guy's treacherous toenails and everything like that, where you got catfished. So I want you to tell me about this hookup horror story.
Oh, well, there have been quite a few along the way, if you can imagine. It's let's just start with the catfishing. So, if you are going to be using online sites, obviously be as honest and upfront as you can about what you look like and what you're looking for. Don't, don't be a douchebag and like if you're married, say you're single and I mean just don't, like there's plenty of women that don't care. You can put that you're married on there and some women don't care or men don't care. It's like whatever. Just represent yourself honestly and accurately and not just in the facts that you're conveying, but also your pictures because I know that this happens. I've heard it happens a lot with men, but it does happen with women too, where a man will have posted something that's just like either flat out doesn't look like him. That was him 50 pounds ago or 10 years ago. It's like you show up and it's awkward because you're putting the other person in a position to be like, have to say something to you, which I'm going to say something. I'm not gonna just let that slide. And I'm gonna be polite as I can about it. But it's kind of like it to me it's annoying because I consider it disrespectful of the other person's time. And again, there's nothing wrong with you or the way you are. If you're trust me, be honest about yourself and you'll be so much happier that the people that you are attracting are actually interested in you. So that's one thing. Then I just have this thing about men and grooming, and funky, fucked up feet are, I can't handle it. I just cannot handle it. I know I don't expect men to be, fancy and soft like women, but in fact, I like a rugged, I like a man's man. But if your feet look like a gargoyle's toes, and the toenails are dry, yellow, brittle, crumbling off, and long and hook, like they could hook you, then if they could pick things up and carry them with their toes, with those finger toes, we got a problem. I cannot handle that. And usually a man will show up with flip flops sporting those toes. And I'm like, I'm retching in my mouth secretly, just like, I can't do it. No, that's just a big turn off to me. So if you have soles on your soles, no, no, nobody wants that.
God damn. Go.
How do you feel about that? I mean, do you want some guy showing up? Like, it just shows he doesn't take any pride in his appearance. I don't know. That's how I look at it.
Well, if you're asking me and you did, for me, it depends on my motivation and my goal. If I'm trying to date and do something long term, I, you know, I'm going to look at it differently than, well, shit. Actually, no, I'm too much of a slut. I was going to say, yeah, I was going to say, if I'm trying to date him long term, then I'm going to work with him on those toes as an opportunity for me to help him improve. But if it's going to be a hookup, then he may not want me to help him improve. But at the end of the day, where's the dick? I can just focus on that and leave, leave the toes alone.
Yeah. I mean, okay, but okay, but let me go one layer deeper. There's a lot of what subliminally what that projects to me is like, if you don't care about your appearance and that kind of stuff, and you're not aware, I mean, if you got eyeballs in your head, you can look down and see that, we can all see it. Then how am I supposed to think that you're a good lover? Where's your awareness? Where's your observation? Are you going to be listening to me, tuned into my body? Like, how good are you going to really be? I mean, I can masturbate on dicks. I mean, I've done it plenty of times. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, you're like, well, okay, he's okay. Let's go for it. And you're just gonna, it's gonna be one and done. But I don't know. I mean, like, I honestly, I want some good, I don't just want mediocre sex. I mean, I want good sex, and someone who's not into their own grooming, to me, it suggests that they're a bad lover.
And well, if that's what your radar is pinging, then you need
That's what my radar says.
to always listen to yourself.
Yep. Yep.
So hey, so yeah, I mean, I did that before. I didn't. A part of the reason I didn't call a guy who wanted me to call him was because of his toes, and that was way back in the day, though. And I don't know. I kind of look back on that now. I'm like, gosh, I think that may have been shallow of me. I'm not calling you shallow, but
Yep.
he had other things going on too. But to each his own. Whatever your pet peeves are, I believe they're there for a reason. So
Yeah.
toes don't
Yeah.
do it for you, fucked up toes don't do it for you. Shit, they didn't
That's
do it for me then. And I'm saying all that. I may still not like them now. So,
yeah.
like, I just don't come across bad toes that often. Now that you mention it, you really kind of don't. It is kind of like a bad. That does only happen once that a guy's toes have been that bad that I kind of turned him down for him. So maybe I wasn't being shallow. Then you might be on something.
Did you turn him down though? That's the thing. I know I'm not saying I come across it very often, but when I do, I'm like, whoa, it's just saying something to me.
Toes are speaking. She could probably reading the tea leaves. She could read the toenail.
Those are sweet. Oh God. Don't make me look at him. That hurts, like burns the corneas off my eyes. I don't even want to look.
So people be fucking honest.
It's like, yeah, be honest. Yeah. And just don't show up. Like, don't have misrepresented yourself. It's not going to work. You're not going to, someone's not going to, they're going to be turned off. They're going to be turned off. So,
Okay. then with that, we could go ahead and begin to bring this thing down like a nice hard dick that was been hard for the next hour. Now it's time for us to make it come and bring it
Yep.
on down.
There we go.
So I'll let you just go ahead and have the last word. Any sort of advice you'd like to give to the world, to the men, to the women, to those who don't identify either way, whatever it is you want to say.
Well, I just, anybody that's listening, I just, I really want to just say, my kind of my message. I think it's been sprinkled in here throughout the whole conversation is just that, I'm all about making your sex life a priority. Don't let it slide. Don't let it go. Think about all the things in your life that you prioritize, your hygiene, your health, exercise, diet, all that stuff. Your sexuality is a huge part of who you are. And to try to deny it and live your life pretending like it's not important because society's telling you that, or church is telling you that, or your partner's telling you that, or whatever, or you're telling yourself that, you need to wake up, realize that's not true, and put a little effort into it. Do a little challenge like I did in the beginning. Doesn't have to be as long, but get yourself a little fun sex bucket list and go knock some things out. Get re-excited, back in touch with who you are as a sexual being, and you're going to be, I mean, I'm a lot happier because because I'm out there with my sexuality, and it's important to me, and I make sure that, it's one of the things that gets handled throughout the month, so I just encourage everybody else to give it a shot, bump it up the priority list and see where it takes you. You'll be surprised.
Hells yeah. Layla London, thank you so much for your transparency today, for being bold enough to talk about these things, for telling the truth, and for blessing the world with your podcast and, and everything like that, because it's going to, I like, writing blogs, books, podcasts, and shows and things like that because, that sort of work will outlive us and everything like that. It can be shared
Yeah, absolutely.
and so forth. And it's just really, really, really fucking incredible to, meet people who don't mind just telling the truth and just
I
being
know.
comfortable in their own skin.
Yes.
I really, really, really there's hope that that's a really I really think a lot of problems boil down to just people not accepting themselves.
Yeah.
And what you project is self-acceptance and just comfort. You're not too much, not too little, you're not arrogant, you're not too humble. You're just, this is me.
Right.
After
Exactly. It is what it is. You are who you are. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me come on and, share my message and asking me these great questions. And I just want to let everybody know if they want to reach out, they can go to my website. I love the best way to reach me. I love voicemail. And if you go to the curiousgirldiaries.com, you can click on the pink tab on the right-hand side and leave me just a voice memo, and I will get back to you personally. So if you have anything you want me to know or share or questions, I'm here to engage.
Right, and we will put that in the show notes and engage away. Thank you so much, Layla.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for taking time to listen to the Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast. It really means everything to me. Look, if you love the show, you can find more information and resources at sexdrugsandjesus.com or wherever you listen to your podcast. Feel free to reach out to me directly at Devannon at sexdrugsandjesus.com and on Twitter and Facebook as well. My name is Devannon. It's been wonderful being your host today. And just remember that everything is going to be all right.